Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Tracy, back again with another video. For those of you who are joining this family for the first time, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you click on that red button down below. Subscribe to this channel so that you can be a part of greatness. And for those who are already a part of the fam, welcome back. As you've already seen in the title below, today we're going to be talking about something that is very near and dear to my heart, especially of late, because it's something that's been very motivating in just keeping me focused and in keeping me in a good space, and a space that allows me, to be creative, a space that allows me to be at peace with my environment and especially within myself. So we're about a few things. This is more or less a discussion. Please open your hearts and your ears to what I'm about to discuss today. I've been kind of looking into not necessarily turning this channel into a motivational type channel, but I do want to use this platform to raise issues that are important to people and to raise issues that are affecting people, in this day and age. Because my mind is scattered, I have written down a few things, a few pointers, just so that we make sure that we're on somewhat of a steady flow of information and that I am not just talking out of my... I hope that you guys will enjoy this video, so make sure you stay tuned. Let's get it! We're going to be positive because there's so much that's happening in our lives. I feel like as a child, I didn't really realize what adulthood was, and I remember really looking forward to being an adult and looking forward to having responsibilities and looking forward to just growing up, but I didn't really realize what came along with that. The concept or the thought of being independent is really fun until you start to take up the responsibilities that come with independence, and then you realize this is not easy. Just overall, everyone's going through something in life. I mean, on top of the experiences that we're going through on a daily basis, why would you want to just stay gloomy? Why would you even want any further negative energy in your life? So I feel like regardless of what's going on in your life, you should be able to, within yourself, just remain positive. No matter what other people are saying, no matter how, people are viewing life around you, just make sure that by yourself, you're just optimistic. I don't mean to say when you're optimistic, that means, you just believe that everything is going to go your way and everything is just, dandy. But I feel like there's a difference between optimism and realism, just because you should be able to be in a space in your life, and I will talk about this further on, but you should be able to be in a space in your life where you are positive and open-minded at the same time. I feel like that's where the balance comes in, and that's where realism comes in, that open-mindedness. But I am gonna get into that later. I was just trying to let you guys know what I feel positivism is to me and what it means to me for a very long time. And I admire my parents a lot, especially my mom, because she's just this very bright soul. She's just got this very light-hearted energy about her, and anybody that's been in the presence of my mother will testify to the fact that she has got a heart of gold, and she sees the good in everything and in everyone and in every situation. My mom is always positive. She always tries to see the better side of everything, no matter how dark a situation may be. My mom will always see the better aspect of it, and she's kind of trained me and my brother to have that same mindset and have that same mentality, and it's carried me through so much, and I'm really appreciative of it. But it hasn't been something that's just come naturally to me. I used to be not necessarily a pessimist, but I could get discouraged really quickly. I had that type of woe is me type of attitude, but my mom over the years has kept on, instilling in us that you need to be positive and you need to think positively about everything around you, and that's what has kept me going. And so I feel like I need to share this, especially with the way things have been going for the past couple years. I did talk about this in a previous video that I have been dealing with some mild depression. When you are in that state of mind, it's really hard to be motivated. It's really hard to be hopeful, but having positive energy flowing in and out of your life constantly, and out of my life personally constantly, has helped me to keep on pushing, to keep on going, and to keep on believing that things do get better. It doesn't just stay like that. No situation is permanent. I just felt like I needed to share that with you guys, because I am trying to use this platform to reach out to other people who might need this kind of motivation, who might need these kind of discussions. And I invite you guys to feel free to comment down below whatever experiences that you've had yourself. Make sure you comment down below. But I'm digressing. I'm kind of trying to define positivity in the way ways that I have kind of learned them myself. I've given you a description of why I feel positivity is important. I've told you how, you know, my positive spirit, how it came about and how it was kind of pushed forward and developed and really nurtured. And I will also talk on the part of my faith. I always say that I am not a religious person. I am not religious. I don't believe that my faith is religion. You know, I feel like religion is a label that was put over it. I am a woman of faith, and I'm not perfect, right? I make mistakes. Okay. A whole lot of mistakes, but it's okay. We are human and it happens. But you know, I consider myself a woman of faith, and I consider myself to have a pretty sturdy relationship with God. And like I said, I'm not perfect. You know, I've fallen in and out of spirituality, but what matters is that I always know at the end of the day that you know, God is someone that I can always lean on. God is someone that I can hope in and know that He's gonna make sure that everything in my path is made straight, and everything in my path is designed in a way that leads me into success, but most of all, designed in a way that leads me into peace. My faith also plays a huge part in my belief in positivity, because I believe that hope in itself is a form of positivism, and so is faith, you know. Because I relate faith to positivity is because even the Word of God itself says, and I don't want to paraphrase, I'm just going to go ahead and read what it says. This is from Hebrews chapter 11 verse 1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. In a very big way, that is what positivity is. You are choosing to believe that things are going to get better, even though it doesn't seem like things are that way at the time. But you're choosing to put forward only the good things that are in your life, and even the very definition of positivity. And now I'm paraphrasing, choosing to have faith in what's there, you know, and choosing to deliberately ignore what is not. Because I feel like a lot of the times, a lot of us are in very negative spaces because we like to yearn for things that are not there. It comes from a place of lack. I just feel like it's really important for, like I said, we're just going through so much. It's so important for you to be able to believe and to have faith in yourself, and to have faith in the process of life, and to have faith in the development of your being, the development of your character. And you're gonna go through things that are gonna knock you down, but make sure that, you know, along that journey that you just keep on pushing forward and you keep on believing that I can make it and I can do it and I can be who I want to be. So positivity is action. It's not just a matter of, you know, I am positive and I believe, you know, I want to have positive energy, but you need to actually put it into practice. I wasn't naturally born positive, but I had to kind of train my brain to think more positively about myself, especially because I've been in a space where I was really insecure. Getting into high school, you know, even a little bit after high school, I was extremely insecure in myself and my body and in my, you know, just my image and everything like that. Yeah, positivity can be learned. It can be trained into your system, into your intellectual capacity. Like you can make your brain really think positively about everything in your life and about yourself as well. From academics to relationships to, you know, business ventures that I've delved into, to fitness and friendship. And I can't really tackle everything all at once. Maybe that should be a video separately, just so I can talk about some of the challenges that I've had. I did touch on a few of those challenges in my mental health video, and I will put the link down below if you haven't watched that yet. But in general, it took me having to train my mind, especially as chaos is ensuing. You know, when you're surrounded by a chaotic environment, or when there's something in your life that's going on that's distressing your soul, it's really hard to see, you know, the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. But when you train yourself to do that constantly, you will find that it's not that you won't be broken down. It's not that you're not going to feel, you know, any type of way about yourself, or you're not going to feel any type of way about a certain situation. But it's that ability to harness those negative emotions and just flip them around and just really be positive about it and be like, you know what, I am in this predicament, but I will get out of it. You know, I can do better. I can be better, and I'm going to do whatever I can in my power to make sure that I do that. Some failures are necessary. We learn from our failure. Failure is something that you can use if you allow it. If you really allow it, failure can be used to grow you. It can be used as a lesson in your life that impacts you in so many great ways. I mean, I failed out of school twice. It was not easy. I knew that program was not for me, but still, it really played very hardly on my intellect, and it made me really doubt myself intellectually. But again, using that concept of positivity, you know, I came to a point where I was like, okay, you know what, you tried, you did the best that you could, you tried this, you know, for 3 years, you tried, this is where we are, you know, whatever has happened leading to this point really is, it doesn't matter, it's irrelevant. This is where we are. What are we going to do moving forward? What are you going to do to better yourself? What are you going to do to make sure that you don't end up in this very same situation? So that's what I did. I went and started a new program. I feel like I'm doing something that I'm really passionate about. And in the beginning of it all, like I remember just starting to going into my, you know, the program that I'm doing now, it kind of felt like a loss, you know, a loss of time, especially. There's so much time that I'd spent in school. Like I said, I was in uni for 3 years already, and I was having to go start again. And it just felt like, what was the point? You know, at the time, I was like, what was the point of all of that? But later on, I started to look back at things and just look at them different. I grew from this, you know. I was a completely different person before I started university, you know, in my first program, than I am today. And there's so much that's happened that was really crappy, but it also built me in so many ways. And so these days, even when I am going through struggles academically, you know, I'm able to be like, you know, let me use this to improve myself. How can I better myself? Yes, I'm failing at this. Yes, I'm struggling with this course, but what can I do in my capacity to do the best that I can, you know, to make sure that at the end of the day, whether or not I pass or fail, you know, I should know that I gave it my all. And that's where, again, that open-mindedness comes in. It's not just a matter of having faith and believing God is capable and he is able, which is true, you know, but God is not a magician. You understand me? I feel like God is very logical, and he can't just snap his fingers and make things go away. He can't just snap his fingers and grant you your wishes. God is not a genie. And so, you know, the fact that he's given us freedom, you know, he's given us free will. There's really nothing sometimes that he can do about certain choices that we make, and there's nothing that he can do about certain circumstances. You know, sometimes life is going to play itself out. Whether or not God has a hand in it, life will play itself out. And so, you know, that's why it's important to be open-minded, because no matter what goals you set for yourself, and no matter where you feel like you want to head in life, sometimes things are not going to go that way, and it's okay. It doesn't mean that God has abandoned you. It doesn't mean that God is unable. No, but that's just a matter of the situation, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, just because things don't go your way does not mean that there's anything wrong with you. It doesn't always mean that you're not doing something right. It doesn't mean that God, you know, has turned his back on you. No, but life is life, and life will happen, and there's certain things, like I said, that are as a result of either our choices or the choices of people around us that God can't do anything about. People talk about wars. People talk about people being raped and children being, you know, abused. Those are choices made by people. It's not like God comes and instructs anyone to do anything. These are choices that are made by people that affect people. So it's like, because he's given us free will, like I said, he can't go back on his word and be like, okay, you guys are doing a bit too much with the democracy, so I'm just going to come and dictate everything. That's not how it works, unfortunately. So that's kind of the approach that I've also taken to my life. And I just touched on academics. I'm going to quickly just browse through into everything else. Not in detail, but just, you know, very lightly. With relationships, again, is the same. You know, I'm single right now. I've been single for almost a year now. And I won't lie to you, like, I've only dated 2 people. First of all, I've only had 2 boyfriends in my entire life, okay? I'm 24, I've only dated 2 guys, okay? Officially anyway. It stems from me being guarded, but then it also really stems from me wanting something rich and something permanent. I won't date unless I feel like it's going, you know, long term. So that is why I've never really been the type of person to just like enter this relationship, be with this person for like 3 months, we break up. I date another person like 6 months, we break up. Like, I can't, because when I start to date someone, already I'm thinking long term. Okay, so I'm one of those girls. Okay, you guys can judge me or whatever. Like, if I meet you and we click and we spend a lot of time together, in my mind I'm already thinking family. Nigga, listen, I'm already thinking marriage. I'm already thinking all of that, because I just like to envision the future. And so I feel like being someone that is in love with the idea of love, you know, I always find myself in a position where I tend to see what I want to see in relationships. I don't know why I'm talking about this. Okay, so the point is, with relationships, while I've only had 2 boyfriends, and it feels like to me those relationships were, I mean, there were failures only because, you know, here I am, you know, but at the same time, also there's things that I've learned from those situations. You know, it's very heartbreaking in the moment when it's happening, and it's like, you know, what have I done? You know, like, what didn't I do enough, or you know, am I not enough? You know what I mean? But looking back again, it's like you get to appreciate the lessons that you got from it. I kind of channel my positivity even into relationships. When something ends, when you fail at something, like I said, even with academics, and I'm applying this to relationships right now, when something ends, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person or they're a bad person or that you didn't do enough or they didn't do enough. People are different, and we're all on different journeys in life. You know, people going through so many different things, and people prioritize so much and so differently that you should never take it personal how people behave. And again, I'm going to take into that. You can't take it personal how people feel. You can't take it personal how people treat you, because that is usually stemming from, you know, things that had nothing to do with you. You met this person, you know, at a certain age, and for all those years before that, you did not know who they were. You know, you don't know what they've been through. You don't know what they've had to battle in their lives. And it's the same for you too. But I'm just saying, trying to understand, you know, where people are coming from. And being of that, you know, having that positive mind, that's kind of how I've applied it to my relationship. Because the relationships did not work out does not make me any less of a woman, you know. It doesn't take away from who I am as a person. It doesn't take away from, you know, how I feel about myself. Just because, you know, it is what it is. Life is crap sometimes. You're gonna gain some, you're gonna lose some. That's just how it is. And that is why it's important to just really be positive. I haven't given up on love. I'm always in love, and I still believe I'm gonna meet someone, and I still believe that I'm gonna find someone that I can share the rest of my life with. But, you know, for the relationships that have failed, it is okay. If you're going through a breakup right now, it is okay. It's gonna be okay. Okay, you're beautiful, and you're gorgeous, and your body's beautiful, and you know, you're intelligent, and there's no need for you to feel less than. And even the person that you split up with, there's nothing wrong with them, you know. They're just on their own course in life, and the best that you can do for yourself and for your own peace of mind is to wish them the best, you know. Pray that they're able to reach the highest level of success that they can possibly, you know, do, while you're bettering yourself. Focus on yourself. Focus on, you know, improving yourself as a person. Focus on becoming the person that you want to be. I feel like everybody has this like particular image of how they want to be and how they want to look. Focus on becoming that person, you know. Focus on emulating that person more and more, so that the more you take up, you know, the characteristics that you wish to have, or that you see in that future you know, the more you start to become. So, you know, and being positive about relationships, that is just how I kind of go about my business. And, you know, whether it's that I've started talking to someone and that it's just faded out, or we've been talking and I find out that they're dating someone else, it happens. But I'm just saying that in general, you know, getting into relationships, I'm always very open-minded, because I know that things could go both ways, and I will, you know, enter it with an open mind, but also come out of it with an open mind. It wasn't always like that, you know. And I say that I've only had 2 boyfriends, so y'all probably like, what do you mean by, you know, getting into relationships and coming out? You only had 2. But I think that I like to make comparisons of the 2, because one of them was, you know, I still learned from it, you know, because I chose to receive lessons from it. I chose to receive lessons from that first relationship. It wasn't the best relationship. I could even say that it was somewhat toxic, but I like to compare that relationship and the second relationship that I had that was, for the most part, pretty positive. It did get a bit toxic in the end, but it was very positive, and I learned a lot from, you know, from the person that I was dating. And I really appreciate the lessons that I got from both of these guys. You know, I really appreciate them as people. I really appreciate, you know, the growth that I've gotten from being with them, and from, you know, even being without them. You know what I mean? And I can only hope for the best for anybody that's been in my life in a romantic way, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, I'm digressing. And in business the same. Like, I've tried this and that, and I haven't exactly been successful in it. And it's not because I am unable, it's not because I'm incapable, but it's just because, you know, obviously sometimes even when things fail, you need to realize what role you had to play in it, you know? So in terms of business, I know that I need to learn to manage my finances a little bit better. So with that, like, my being positive about, you know, my failures in business is that, you know, moving forward, if I'm ever to pursue business again, I need to see what made me fail before, you know, take those L's and turn them into lessons. Just take whatever it is, you know, from the failures that I need to take, and apply that to anything new that I'm trying to come up with. I've applied it, you know, not to anything practical yet, but to theoretical ideas. Like, I've got so many ideas for so many businesses that I'd like to pursue, and, you know, in doing that and planning and researching, I make sure that I take those failures and I put them in front of myself, and I'm like, you know, what can I take from this? How can I apply it, you know, in future so that I don't find myself in the same position?